Yeah, so dude, one thing I have been seeing all over Facebook at the minute and all over the internet is, and it's probably the most current bit of news to do with the automotive bit, and it's not even about cars, it's about push bikes, and that's what's flying around in the news at the minute, because there was talk about them possibly putting registration plates on push bikes and possibly making people pay insurance as well for them when they were using them on the road.
So is that for accountability for if there's accidents and bits and pieces? Or?
Yeah, that's the main thing. And because I know there's massive uproar and backlash from the cyclists about it, which I kind of get a little bit. But I mean, personally, I think it's a good idea, because what it is, the Minister of Transport stood up. It was a grant something. Right. Yeah, he was on a radio show and he said about it. And I mean, because I think it is a good idea. Because I mean, to be honest, it does make him more accountable for things, because I think the thing he was getting at the most thing is death by dangerous cycling, because that is something that they're looking at, even though that because apparently the government have taken a back step on it now, because originally they were talking about putting registration plates on bikes and making people pay insurances, which, I mean, the insurance thing, I don't know. I mean, there was other people saying that they were going to make them pay road tax as well, and other bikes checked out.
They've been bandying that about for donkey's years, haven't they? Because they were the same for people in like motorized wheelchairs and scooters and bits and pieces like that.
I mean, don't get me wrong, you start doing things like that, then you don't know where it ends. And I mean, and to be honest, cycling is a good way to lose weight. It's a good way to keep yourself healthy. And I think and a lot of the time, I mean, road tax, it doesn't, I mean, look at the state of our roads, and we're paying more road tax than we ever did before. And look at the state of our roads. And I mean, I'm all for them not having to pay tax. I'm all for them not having to get an MOT on them. Push bikes is push bike. I mean, it shouldn't be a dangerous push bike, the same as it shouldn't be a dangerous car and things like that. But again, they can tell that when they pull you over if you've done something stupid. But I mean, I agree with the registration plates. I mean, there was a chap a little while back, I don't know if you read about it in the news, I think it was in this part of the country as well. Not local to us, but I think it was in this part of, I think it was in Wales somewhere, and he clipped a little girl. He was cycling quick, and he clipped and knocked a little girl over, like a 4-year-old or 5-year-old, and put her in a critical condition on a zebra crossing. And he took off. The only reason they caught him is because he didn't know what to do. I think he panicked when he ran originally, but he actually did go and hand himself in. So I mean, respect to the guy. But I mean, if he hadn't, I mean, would they have ever caught him? And that's the thing, because bikes have got no distinguishable real marks on them other than the colour, things like that. But again, the people the people like our friend Dav, I mean, he loves his push bikes. He probably sees someone cycling past and he could tell you what year it was made, what make it was, what model it was. Same as my friend of the family, Russ. I mean, he's the same. But I'm not a bike person. I mean, I like cycling, but I'm not a bike person. All I can tell you is it was red, blue, green. And the thing is, how many other hundreds of thousands of bikes on the road are that colour?
Well, this is the thing, unless you see the incident from the front and you can actually get the person's face, it's just a body going away on a bike.
That's it. And I mean, and I think a lot of them are getting up in arms about it, about having registration plates and things like that. And I mean, it would be a hard thing to put in, because the bikes would have to start having frame numbers stamped on them and things like that. I mean, I think some of them do anyway. I'm sure my Giant has. But it's but yeah, I mean, but I think if you're cycling on the road for a genuine reason, you want to go out and cycle and keep fit and everything like that, and you're genuinely not being a nussance and a pest, then what have you got to lose by having a registration plate on there? And I mean, and I bet you any money, the same people that are moaning about that, or a lot of them, if we were driving up and down, I mean, you look at our cars, you've got a silver Vectra, I got a silver E46. How many other silver E46s and Vectras are there on the road? Hundreds of them, thousands of them, like hundreds of thousands of them.
There's probably 3 or 4 similar to my car in this area.
Yeah, if you took your plates off and went riding down the road, driving down the road and went everywhere in it, there would be uproar, because if you did do something, if you were speeding, if you clipped someone, if you hit someone over, how would they tell it was yours and not one of the others?
They'd never be able to work it out.
Exactly, and that's the thing with cyclists, and that's why I think I think it's a good reason to have it on there. And I don't think it's not an invasion of privacy, it's not anything else. And the thing is, if it goes down the same route as everything else, then obviously if you only use your bike off-road, then you don't need to have one of those plates. Same as if you've got a scrambler bike that you only use on pay and play days or off-roading in certain events, and the quad bikes and even Shoguns and Jeeps and 4x4s, you don't need to have number plates on them if you're not using them on the road. So if you feel it's that big of an invasion of privacy, what's to stop you just saying, okay, then I'm only going to use it on cycle tracks? And I mean, again, I'm all for the insurance side of it as well, because of being a vehicle owner, I've seen cyclists do some mental damage to cars where they've clipped into the back of a car, they've been pedaling like mad like that, and not seen the car in front stopped, and actually gone right through the back window of the car. And it's like, Jesus. And they're not cheap, especially if you think that car is owned by a young family that can barely make ends meet, especially at the minute with things like all the bills going up, electricity and everything like that. That could be crippling someone. That could write their car off for some people, couldn't it? To turn around and go, well, I can't afford to have a new back window, I can't afford to have this fixed and that. And the thing is the same as if a driver's driving a car without insurance, some sort of insurance on it on the road. Like say, like if I was driving without insurance and took your car out and wrote it off, there's nothing you could really do except hope that your insurance would pay out for it. But then again, you've got a claim on your insurance, you're going to be paying it back over the next God knows how many years because you've got a claim within the last 5. And so I do think that it's not fair that the cyclists are on the road cycling without any insurance, and they could hit a person. And the worst thing is they could hit a person and not get any sort of thing for it, because that's what they're trying to change at the minute. Is they want a death by dangerous cycling law in. Because at the minute, the way it stands, because of a loophole, you could kill someone on a push bike and do a maximum of 2 years in prison.
Really?
Yeah, you could take me and you. I could go cycling down this hill flat out as fast as I could, and hit a pram with a kid in it. I could hit somebody, an old person, and end their life, and the max they could put me away for is 2 years, which I think is wrong. And I agree with the transport minister there. People need to be able to be held accountable the same way as if you kill someone by dangerous driving, you should be held accountable. I'm not just picking on cyclists. This is just the way I think it should be across the board. We're all road users. We should all be held accountable for our actions on the road. And it's because they say they want the cyclists to obey the speed limits, which is a current thing in. But again, there's no reg plates on a bike. You go flat out through a speed camera on a push bike, it'll flash at you, but how's they ever going to tell it's you?
True.
And it's...
And I suppose if that's what's classed as dangerous driving for a car, it would be the same for a bike. It would be dangerous driving. Yeah,
exactly. And the thing is, if you were to go flat out through a town centre and you do take out a little kid and damage and hurt the poor little thing, I mean, heaven forbid, but you should be held accountable. Same as if I was driving through a town centre and knocked over a little kid, I should be held accountable.
Well, I suppose on the flip side as well, going away from blame for cyclists, but if your bike was stolen and then they were able to trace your bike because it got picked up on a camera somewhere, whether it's a CCTV camera or, like you say, a speed camera or something, and somebody goes past and goes, oh, well, we know what bike that is because it's got registration on it. And they may not be able to find out where the bike is, but they can at least know which direction it was going. So in terms of safety and protection of property and stuff, maybe it would be a positive thing if it was people to get their property back sooner or find out where it went or whatever.
Because I mean, I have to admit, I did actually go, and that is a good thing for that sort of side of it. And also, it'd be able to distinguish your push bike out from somebody else who brought the same model. Because I actually have to admit, I did have a thing last year. Someone on Facebook messaged me and said, do you know who this person is? And I said, yeah. I said he was like somebody I knew from such a place. And I'm not going to go into details, give names online. But it's... and I said, why is that? And I said, and he messaged me back then and said, he said, I saw him on your friends list. He's just messaged me now, reckons that a bike that I'm selling for my son, that I brought for my son, is his that got nicked from such a place in such a place. And he said he reckoned it was his bike, and he was like, where'd you get it and everything? That bike was stolen off me last week for this and that and the rest of it. And they almost ended up meeting up for a fight about it because they were really heated words exchanged about it. Because, like I say, I mean, the other guy assumed it was his that was stolen, and my other mate, who is a trustworthy guy, he's not somebody who'd lie about it, bought the bike brand new for his kid for X amount of money, and he said, I haven't got the receipt no more. It was about 3 years ago I bought that bike.
Well, it would make it easy to work out.
That's the thing, there was no distinguishable, because there's no registration plate, there was no real things, and they were both, like, I don't know, Carreras or whatever they were both the same model. Like you said about your frame having a stamp on it, you don't know what that is off the top of your head, do you? Unless you had to go look at it. That's it, I'd have to go and look, and to be honest, even to remember that, I'd probably have to take a picture.
But, like, your registration, if somebody goes, gives your registration, I go, well, I definitely know that's mine.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to give my entire registration out online. I was just about to recite it off the top of my head.
Well, I was going to as well. I feel better of it.
No, I'm not going to. But you do. You know your registration. Well, I tell you what. My first car, G801XOD. There we are. That car's been scrapped. I don't mind giving that one out. Yeah.
So if that was the registration on your bike, and somebody went, "Oh, that's my bike. It's been stolen." The registration is. You could go, "Nope." Take the picture of the registration on your bike and go, this is what mine is. And
exactly.
And that's it, diffused completely then.
Yeah, brilliant idea. And first car I fell in love with, H584 HBH.
Yeah, both gone.
Yeah, that's it, both gone. But yeah, it's but yeah, no, like I said, I'm not trying to give cyclists a hard time. I mean, don't get me wrong,
Well, I didn't even know this was coming in, to be honest. This is all
Yeah,
brand new to me.
well, apparently they've taken a step back from the registration plates. Okay, I mean, again, I think it would have been a good idea, some sort of identification mark on a push bike, same as there is on motorcycles and cars and tractors and everything else on the road. I think is a good idea, personally, for all the reasons we gave. I think it's like saying, if you're genuine cyclist out there, just out there to have a thingy, then yeah, fair enough. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't think there should be anything out there that costs cyclists more to ride.
No,
I personally don't believe that's a good idea at all, because again, it's gonna have a negative effect. Then all these people out there trying to keep fit, gonna spend loads of money on a push bike. They're not gonna be able to keep. They might, especially with the price of everything else going up, they might have to give up riding their push bike. And not everybody's got a car that they can put a bike rack on the back of to take their bike to somewhere that's off the road either. So I think,
and to be
making
honest,
people be insured, I don't know. I'm on the fence with that one. Like I said, I think it's a really good idea, because I've had my cars damaged outside by probably people on bikes, probably kids on bikes, I think. So I had a big, massive line dent in the wing of my Beamer, and I had to go get a new one. And the thing is, like saying, even if I knew who it was, I wouldn't be able to claim nothing off them.
No.
Just hope that they're good enough to pay for it. Otherwise, you're looking at a small claims court, which would cost me more than the car's worth.
Well,
so,
to be honest, in terms of like charging them for tax and bits and pieces like that,
I think
you think the amount of damage that a bike can do to a road surface is next to nothing compared to a vehicle of weight or with power that's moving the wheels and everything like that. So I don't think necessarily that's but to be fair, if a cyclist has insurance, and it means if they're in an accident that's not their fault, they can actually get paid out for. Because at the moment, as far as I know, if somebody does a hit and run and they don't catch the vehicle, and poor cyclist gets bugger all for it. But if you're in a position where you pay insurance and you are in a situation where there's a hit and run and maybe they don't catch, but your insurance company will pay out for your damage, and surely that's going to be a bonus, and surely it's going to make more people get out on their bikes, because they're going to go, well, I know we're not any safer than we were before, but if the worst should happen, at least I'm covered now.
Yeah, I've got something there. That's
a positive thing, if nothing else.
I think that is good. And the thing is, like I say, this country is not as good as some others, but it's a hell of a lot better than a lot of others. Well, we have got a very good cycle track network.
Yes.
And I mean, and the one that used to really do my head in where we grew up is the fact that you had the cycle track that went all the way from where we lived at the time, all the way across to other places, like, and actually I could say the place names, Barnstable and Ilfracombe and things like that. And there was a
lot of time the cycle track was right next to the road as well. It was literally like a grass verge away. Well,
that was it, because there was a pub one at Henton Court, and you go to the road that side, and it literally had a little gate at the bottom, and you walked that way, and you were on the cycle track, the Tarka line. And I tell you, that was one thing. Like I said, don't get me wrong, cyclists on the road, I am very courteous. I will overtake them like I'm overtaking a car, because I dread to think, what if they fell over when I was overtaking? So I have to admit, I do think about things, and like I say, I've got respect for them and things like that. The ones I hate are the ones that swerve in and everything, but these ones did my head in, because they were on the road, and there's a cycle track right next to it, and it's safer for the cyclist. Because the thing is, it's windy road as well. The amount of times I was going around, it's 60 zone road at one stage, it's 40 now, but you come around the corner doing 40 even, and there'd be cyclists there, and the amount of times it was dangerous like that, you come around slamming on the anchors, and you're hoping the car behind you doesn't go into the back of you.
Well, we used to have it on that route. I remember going out to Ilfracombe once, and don't get me wrong, it was a lovely evening, nice weather, and there happened to be a group of cyclists out together, but they weren't the only group that were out together, and there was, say, maybe 8 of them together. Some of them were 3 abreast, some of them, and by the time I managed to get past them safely on a straight, I came around the next corner, and there was another group that I had to get past, and I was like, and like you say, I'm all for people being fit and healthy, and everybody can use the roads and everything like that, but had they been on a cycle track rather than on the road, it would have been a lot safer for everybody. I mean, fortunately, the roads are quiet, but had it been that there were people driving at 60, because it is a 60 road that we were on, I came around the corner, find the cyclist, there's a car on the other side of the road, or God forbid there were cyclists on both sides of the road and cars trying to get, and it would have been absolute mayhem, and could have ended in some really nasty accidents.
That's the thing. And I mean, like I said, those ones, they really did do my head in, because I actually spoke to one of them once, because I used to work with one, and he was one of these people. I mean, don't get me wrong, like I said, it's all very well and cool and that, but like, you could tell he was obviously a Tour de France fan and everything, because he wore like he had like
the
the helmet
lycras and
that was like
everything.
he had a helmet that was teardrop shape, lycra so tight that you could count the crinkles in his ring piece, and he said to me, he said, "Oh yeah, but cycle track's all flat and straight. It's not like the Tour de France." It's like, hang on a second, Bill. When are you ever going to be in the Tour de France? I bet it's going to be half past fucking never, isn't it? You're not going to do it. It's like, and that's what really gets to me. It's like you're out there playing, and it's like, yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I go out there and play in my truck. I go and do it off road. I go and do it in the right place and everything like that. Don't get me wrong, I'm a racing fan. But I tell you what, if I took my Beamer out and was doing 130 through a 30 zone, I think I'd be in a bit of trouble because I was pretending to be the guys on the Isle of Man or Goodwood. And that's the thing, I can't go driving around Monaco at freaking 100 mile an hour like the F1 drivers do, like my heroes do during the week, because it's not safe. And it's
you do unfortunately get some people, the same as you get with car people, you do get the same with bikes, where the cyclists will look at it and go, 2 wheels good, 4 wheels bad kind of thing.
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong. There is, like I said, I'm probably coming across as one of these people. I'm saying like 4 wheels, but 4 wheels good, 2 wheels bad. And I'm genuinely not. Like I say, you want to go out there and cycle, I think more power to you. And like I said earlier, I will overtake a cyclist like they're a car. I don't. And I don't get funny about it. I don't even get worked up when I'm stuck behind a cyclist, unless they're being purposefully bloody minded. Like I had one the other day who a van in front, a couple of cars in front. It took us ages to overtake him safely. We overtook him safely. Got to a red light after what felt like days, and then he went straight up the inside of all of us, right in front again, and then he ran the red light as well. So we all had to get past him again, and it was like, really, mate? You could see that you had a line of cars behind you for miles, and we finally got past you, and now you're making us all do that work over and over again. It's like, really?
I will say that is one of my pet peeves, one of my few pet peeves with cyclists, is I have seen several that have got to a red light, have pulled onto the pavement, have cycled round the traffic light and gone back on the road again, like they've bypassed it somehow. And I think, no, you're
and these are the people. I mean, I'm not saying that all cyclists are like that, because like I say, I probably go past hundreds of cyclists a week, and to be honest, most of them I don't even notice, because they are obeying the rules, they're being courteous, they're kind, they're wearing the proper safety stuff, and like I say, they are being courteous to other road users. And like I say, I probably don't even think about them. It's like anything in it. You'll always remember the bad over the good. Like I say, it's like like when you buy when you buy a vacuum cleaner for sake, something stupid, something you don't even think about. You could buy, I don't know, 10 different vacuum cleaners over the course of like your lifetime, and you won't even remember the good ones. Well, you won't even remember the ones that did their job really, but you'll always remember if there was one that broke within 6 weeks, and you'll never go back to that brand again. And it is the same sort of thing with everything, I think, with humans. So like I say, you'll always remember the bad cyclists, you'll always remember the bad drivers, the bad truck drivers, the bad motorcyclists. You don't really remember the good ones. So I will say that, like I say, being as neutral as I can, I know there are hundreds of thousands of good cyclists out there and people that obey the rules, and there's probably hundreds of thousands out there that didn't have a problem with all of this. But like I say, but from my point of view, I think some of it is good. I think making it so that if you kill someone on a push bike, you should be held accountable, I think is definitely worthwhile, because it might make some people that cycle crazy through towns and not think about it. And
well, I think at the end of the day, we should, if we're all using the road, we should be accountable for actions on it. And if we're all using the road, we should be safe. And, should anything happen to us, we should all get, be protected in the same way, whether we're on.
Yeah, that's what I think it is. I think for people who are genuine cyclists out there, I don't think you've got anything to worry about. It's the same as, like, say, like when they've been changing speed limits in certain places. Some people go, like that, because it does mean you might have to leave 30 seconds earlier for work in the morning. But if you're a genuine road user, it doesn't really make that much difference. It's just like when I'm okay. The only thing it does is when it costs you more, which like I say, and that's why I'm saying I don't agree with all of the things, like I say, tax and MOT on bikes. I think obviously a bike should be usable. It should have working brakes and stuff like that. But other than that, like tax and MOT and that, I think is over the top, and it's something that's going to kill the cycling, because there's people who won't be able to afford it then, which I think is stupid. That's another reason why a lot of people are cycling to and from work and commuting on them, is because they can afford that, whereas they might not be able to afford a car, or a bus fare or train fare or whatever. So I mean, it's good, it's got its place, but But yeah, sorry, I was going to say, I think we've dribbled on enough about this. Well, let us know what you think, guys. I say, and I hope we haven't lost any followers because of my opinions. But again, just remember that's what they are. There are opinions about it. If you disagree, let us know why. Let your voice be heard. We're always happy to hear from people that watch, and we're always happy to have good discussions. But it's something that's going on the roads at the minute, so we wanted to discuss it and put across our points of view, really, and why we think that way.
If you're a cyclist, will it change the way that you would go about, you know, how often you use the roads, or whether you'd start using cycle tracks more, or whether it won't change anything for you at all, whether you take it as a good thing or a bad thing? Yeah,
and it'd be good to hear from you guys. And I hope I hope we haven't offended anyone. Hope we haven't put anyone off. But this is, like I say again, this is car talk. We're talking about our opinions, and that's what it is. So, and like I say, I hope we haven't offended anyone, and I hope you've enjoyed. And if you have, hit that like and subscribe below the screen, and hit that notification bell so that you keep up to date with the new content that's coming out. Thanks, guys. See you in the next one.
Cheers.